Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. Continuing our wine and cheese month, we're doing a real classic here, Dirty Dancing. I'm Dylan. Joining me as always are Ben, Zach, and
Hi.
Cam. And to kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's wine and cheese pairing.
Our Cholula.
I was looking online and came across vivino.com, and they had 10 Valentine's Day movies and wine pairings. And so for Dirty Dancing, they recommended a Tempranillo wine, which is a Spanish grape. So it's a red wine, kind of like if you've ever had like a like Pinot Noir. It's definitely in that family. I know we hate red wines over here, so why not just do it multiple times in our wine month? Really just be sadists out here.
It's really an acquired taste.
Much like poop, red wine is an acquired taste.
Straight slander on poop.
I think it is supposedly the most healthy alcohol you could drink, because don't they say like a glass of red wine every
It's good
evening
for
is
your
like,
heart,
yeah.
apparently, yeah. Although, then, like 2 years ago, I had a doctor ask me about drinking. It was like, yeah, they say red wine's good for your heart, but now studies are showing that red wine, or that alcohol causes cancer. And I'm just like, man, what fucking doesn't cause cancer anymore? It's really...
McDonald's.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's
If you're
just
constantly
never mind.
eating McDonald's, it's because
It wards it off.
I was gonna say if you constantly eat McDonald's, you'd die before getting the cancer anyway.
Imagine if like one company got a study done and it was like, yep, definitely you won't get cancer if you just eat this all the time. And they just leaned into that marketing.
Everywhere in the world, that food would become free. Here in America, it would be like $1 million a plate.
It's like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
doesn't cause cancer? Drowning does not cause cancer.
what you gotta say is science has shown that not drowning will save your life, and you'll have a bunch of people just purposely drowning themselves, claiming that science is a hoax, and that whoever came up with this is an idiot.
You have to say Joe Biden doesn't want you to drown.
I did my own research. Water filling your lungs is completely healthy.
We call it the flush.
It clears all the toxins out.
It's like taking fish medicine.
Have you spent the
Yeah,
last 40 years
if water's
smoking?
good enough for
Are you
fish,
tired of taking omega-3s?
50% of the creatures that live on Earth, it's good enough for us. It's probably more than that percent. I don't honestly know, or less.
I don't
I'm not
think
sure.
anybody knows. I feel like the
Yeah, I was gonna
ocean's
say.
still really unexplored.
Well, it's tough because I waffle on it because there's obviously a fuck ton of
dinner
life in the
or
ocean,
dessert.
which is like 70% of the Earth. But there's also so many like insects and bugs and shit that like it could easily outnumber the number of
Yeah.
like sea life. So I honestly
Yeah, but
don't.
there's
The
also
rates were
like
burning down the
microorganisms in the sea.
Rainforest, though.
That's true too. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I'm sure it's a shame that nothing exists that we could look this information up. I guess we'll just have to keep speculating.
Welcome to the 1960s.
It was the summer of 1963,
And everyone kept calling me baby for some reason. And I couldn't
didn't
find a man as
mind.
good as my dad.
It wasn't sexual, except for the dad part.
Cam, this would be nice for you to know. Reading about the taste profile of our wine, and it says it's ranging from medium to full body with medium tannins and medium to low acidity. It's all about the medium tannins.
It's all about those tannins.
Bitches love tannins.
Bitches love tannins.
The site that I was on recommended a lot of meat. So Zach, this might be your chance to get your little steak in, not quite bourbon, but wine in.
Steak and red wine can slap.
With it being Spanish, it pairs well with a lot of Spanish foods, like barbecue and grilled meat and smoky dishes, jamon iberico. But for our cheese pairing, we went with an iberico cheese or a manchego cheese if you can't find one or the other. Both Spanish. And they're all right. I really enjoy these cheeses more so than the sweet cream or the brie that we've kind of done. It's like a nice bite to it, and it's a little salty and savory. It's great. I like a good like manchego cheese. Check the show notes below. Hit up those Drizzly and Caster links. Get yourself some Tempranillo wine. I don't know why I went to the Italian accent.
Why did you go Italian for a Spanish wine?
That's
I don't know.
racist.
Yeah, that's pretty offensive, man.
I feel like if he went Spanish, it would have been more racist, though. So maybe we just gotta cut our losses.
Well, because if he goes Spanish, he's definitely going Mexican Spanish, and that's not the right Spanish.
I don't know if Dylan could do a Spanish without doing a Mexican.
Ibiza.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually pretty good because it's like soft, like it's softer. Like one of my Spanish teachers in high school was from Spain rather than like Latino.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they did like a Speedy Gonzalez accent when they were trying to teach you.
No. And so she was actually from Spain, and so when she would say like S's, they were soft S's. Or TH's.
Yeah, get you some Spanish wine delivered directly to your door. And check out Dirty Dancing on Freeform app if you have a cable subscription or YouTube TV.
Or if you just throw on Freeform, probably right now, it's probably on. If Harry Potter's not on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Harry
That's
Potter.
where they-
every
Yeah, I will
weekend.
say
where they
watching
get
it on
most of their
Freeform
listenership.
was nice because it was free, but it kind of sucked because there were so many like 3-minute commercial breaks.
So many. They lasted
my
so
God.
long.
Yeah, because it's like it's a cluster of like 6 commercials every time.
Yes. I'm glad we all felt
and you
the same
can't
thing.
skip it.
Bro.
On the Freeform app, you can't skip it. If you watch it in YouTube TV, maybe you can skip the ads, but
No,
I actually owned the movie, so I watched it that way because I thought I watched it on Freeform, and then I was like, wait a second, I didn't have any ads. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I remember putting in the disc now.
No.
it's probably
Like we had it on Vudu.
just to digital probably. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, this is like my mom's favorite movie apparently, so that's why we had it. Because my
Get
dad
into
like
that. And
she just likes
unpeel
Patrick
that.
Swayze.
or Dirty
Mom just
Dancing. Who
loves
knows?
Bumping and grinding.
I feel like 90% of the reason women like this movie is because of Patrick Swayze.
I thought it was going to be all the hip thrusting.
I mean,
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
fine too.
yes, but mostly the hip thrusting that Patrick Swayze
right,
does.
exactly. They don't care when fucking Melvin does it, but Patrick Swayze is where it's at.
Fucking Melvin.
I just
I don't
love
know
getting
what
to
his
see
name.
Jack
I don't
do it.
remember his name, but I'm talking about the hotel owner's son.
Neil?
Dweeb
Is it
dude.
Neil?
I don't know.
That's weird. I own 2 hotels.
What's the difference between him and me? 2 hotels. Oh!
Also, okay,
How droll
hold on.
of me.
We can get into this in a second.
it.
Because I have a question about this. So Dirty Dancing is a 1987 drama romance film. It currently sits at a 7.0 out of 10 on IMDb.
0.0.
Directed by Emil Ardolino. Written by Eleanor Bergstein. And stars Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, Jerry Orbach.
Law and Order legend, Jerry Orbach.
I was about to say Wayne Knight is in there.
Yep.
Anyone else I like really...
recognize anyone else that stood out?
A lot of these people don't even have like IMDb pictures
Yeah.
on the top cast part, so
Nice.
it won 1 Oscar for Best Music Original Song for the song "I've Had the Time of My Life."
Everybody heard that fucking song?
The soundtrack is slaps. Not gonna lie.
The soundtrack is pretty good.
fucking good.
Especially because I feel like, well, never mind. That's stupid. I do feel like older music is coming back into like style recently. Like maybe not that old, but
I get what you're saying. Like you're talking about like Fleetwood Mac and like
yeah, and like a lot of new music actually has a lot of influences from like 80s music and stuff now. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like older styles of doing music are coming back in.
I have a
vogue.
I have a Steve Winwood CD in my car right now. Let me go grab it.
Oh,
You have a CD in your car?
it's a.
I do
It's an always
just
something.
just in case my Bluetooth doesn't work.
I don't.
Yes.
I have
Yep.
backups because
have
the
backup.
last thing I want to do is
Is listen
turn
to
on
the
the
radio.
radio.
Somebody here did.
Yeah, the radio
Yeah.
blows.
My car's super weird. Like the Bluetooth sometimes will not work, Like
Oh.
it'll recognize that my phone is connected, but it just won't like play the music through it for some reason until I
Strange.
like restart the car.
No,
But,
mine just sometimes just takes a minute, and when it's taking a minute, I'd rather have a CD or something playing versus radio.
instead of silence, then possibly radio, I usually go CD. I would rather sit in silence for 45 minutes than.
So what's your CD of choice? You got Death Grips in there, like bum, 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 right when the car
He
starts
actually
up.
does have a Steve
I
Winwood
do
CD.
have Death Grips in the
Oh
car.
no!
I don't think that's what's in the radio though. But
I said that as a meme, but all right.
I do have the money store in there.
It's Money Store, so okay. all
Yeah,
right.
that's the one with Get Got.
Yeah, I know.
And Hacker. Everyone knows Hacker because it was on like the Battlefield 2 commercial or some shit.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I gotta hear it now. Let me go.
Dirty Dancing is the story of spending the summer at a Catskills resort with her family. Frances, baby Houseman, falls in love with the camp's dance instructor, Johnny Castle. I had seen bits and pieces of this one, but I'd never watched it all the way through, so I'm counting this as like my first official watch through. Everyone else, had anyone seen it? I feel like Ben.
I don't think
No,
so.
what?
No, I watched on Netflix. They do like the movies that made us, and I watched it about this movie, and I was like, man, I should really watch this. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I should save it for the podcast. I don't know. Growing up, my mom didn't really care about watching movies and that. So like, movie choices in my house were my dad's choice of like action movies, westerns, that type of. We didn't really watch a lot of like romantic movies. It just wasn't a thing we did.
What exactly? So it's a resort, right? But it's like
Yes.
it's kind of like summer camp for families.
Yeah, it's like a summer vacation home for people of all ages.
It was
I mean,
super
I think
weird.
I think this is like vacationing in yeah. I mean, it's like an all summer vacation. Like rich people would just go with their entire families to these places for the summer, and they'd all hang out together and shit like that. You know?
They had whatever fucking games that people played back then, croquet
And super lame ass, like,
Golf.
hey, everybody's here. We're having fun at our summer camp and playing cards and shooting shit. Like that very lame song at the end.
Oh, I was thinking the weird try on wigs of Jackie Kennedy and Cleopatra. Like, why is
No.
that a summer activity?
That is strange, yeah.
We have to remember it was the 1960s, and
They didn't have
Americans-
tiddlywinks or something? I don't know. Like,
oh, I mean, you got to remember the men were all
They had tiddlywinks.
basically-
They were just doing that at night.
they were all playing cards and stuff, and they didn't have any cool shit to do.
It is funny when, like, near the end of the movie, like, everything they do is, like, I feel like is pretty lame. And then near the end of the movie, the guy's like, I don't think people are going to want to do this anymore. Like, well, yeah.
Look
no
at it.
shit.
Families don't want to come here and sit around for 6 weeks.
Sit around for 6 weeks making up songs about how the camp is so awesome, playing cards and having their wives cheat on them all week while they're away.
that was
I don't know if people are going to want to do this anymore. Like, yeah, no shit.
Oh yeah, we call them what was it? The Cabana something? What were they?
Something weak. I don't know.
Oh,
Basically like
the
accepting
whatever-
the fact that
it
they
was
like
something
sleep with
bunnies. It was like the
Cabana
cabana,
bunnies.
bunnies.
Cabana bunnies. Yeah,
Yeah.
like basically the fact that like they leave their husbands at home and stay here like for
Well,
weeks
they
on
get-
end.
more so
They
that
get
they're
dropped off. At
more
Well,
so
the
that they
bunny
get
part is
dropped
because
off.
they fuck like bunnies while they're here.
Bunnies do
Thanks,
be
Cam.
fun,
I was curious as to why they called them that.
Well, you're welcome.
And now you know.
That is, I will say though, he does definitely he does pretty much pay to have his wife sleep with the guy.
He does, yeah.
the gambler dude. And
it's
he's
like
like, no
couples
thanks. And
daycare.
he's like, all right, I guess you won't be sleeping with my wife. Whatever.
It's like, here,
Show
take
her
my
a good
wife. I gotta
time.
go bang my secretary, keep her busy.
Well, I think he's just playing cards. I mean, maybe during the week, but I think there he's just like playing cards.
Yeah, I meant the guy who drops his wife off during the week and picks her up on weekends.
Yeah, but like during
He's,
the
black hair
weekend.
and a black dress.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
like,
during
the weekend, that's the guy who gives him money
Yeah.
to give her quote
Yeah,
extra
that's the
lessons.
same people.
I gotcha.
Same guy.
Yeah.
And then his wallet gets stolen.
How's he gonna pay for the cookery?
I like that plot is just so glanced over that they need a reason to kick out Johnny. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's never referenced besides the one time where she sees the old people with all the purses, and then like it comes back and it's like, there's been multiple thefts and no one knows about this until right at this point when Johnny's about to get fired. And oh wait, I
Must be
saw a
the
bunch of
late
wallets in
dance
a purse.
instructor.
Honestly, I didn't even notice anything about that until she brought it up. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like I didn't notice that either. Like when the thing fell down, I was like, okay, wow, she's got a bunch of shit in her purse. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the side plots in this movie are just paper thin.
Oh, I mean,
They're
of
there to
course,
fill up the time.
most of the movie is here for lady porn.
I was going to say, yeah, I feel like all that stuff is just secondary to Patrick Swayze dancing on screen.
The dirty dancing, the dirty D.
The plot, all the plot is secondary to the title of the movie.
It's a watch it for the plot type of movie.
Yep, exactly what I was gonna say. Also,
I mean, I will say part of the
so-
plots are good. Like, it's not, I mean, it's thin, but it's part of it's decent. Like, it's
It
like,
didn't look that thin. It seemed decent.
So, my wife pointed out when they were doing learning the leap in the lake, she's like, why would they dress her in all thin white clothes? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
because they needed
But the
something.
sexuals.
They needed something to keep the men in the theater while the women just eye banged Patrick Swayze.
People
Yeah.
needed to see.
Right.
you know, it's a
Ferris
great
Bueller's
place
sister,
to
dude.
practice leaps. The water. Let's go out to the lake. You're not gonna be like 10 pounds heavier because of all your clothes are soaking wet. It'll be great.
No, but see, it's easier
I
because
mean, it's easier to lift people in water.
except for
But
the
they're
fact that
not.
he's lifting
She's
her
out of the
I know,
water.
I
Except for the out of
I
the
think
water
it's just
part.
the fall. I think it's the fall into the
Oh,
water is
okay.
the thing.
I
But
gotcha.
that's what I was like. I was like, oh, they'll be underwater doing lifts. No,
Yeah.
they're out of the water doing lifts. So it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I think it's purely for the fall back into the water when they like mess up, and so they're not like falling.
Ben knows the 80s. Ben knows them well, inside and out.
Is this movie socialist propaganda?
I mean, it is. The 2 stars were also in Red Dawn, right?
Yes.
So like, I feel like it can't be socialist propaganda.
Well, it's very pro choice.
Is it very pro-choice?
Well, I mean, it is essentially, but then also like Baby as a character is like, I'm gonna go into the Peace Corps and war in Vietnam is wrong and all like.
A lot of political comments right off the bat. Like as soon as they get out of the car, Jack says something like, "What is it like? This was a bad idea. Like dogs in Birmingham." Oof.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they start the class warfare angle immediately in this movie. Like when they're doing the waiter and the entertainment staff, they're like, "Yeah, waiters, wine and dine the daughters, have fun with them." Entertainment staff, no, fuck you. Do exactly what they pay you to do, and then get the fuck out.
Don't fuck them.
Keep your hands off them, Johnny. Okay. But wait staff, yeah, you go ahead and get them pregnant, and then abandon them immediately after. Go ahead, it's fine.
Yeah, Robbie fucking sucks, dude. And then he's like, when she goes and confronts him, he's like, yeah, read this Ayn Rand book.
Oh my god.
That okay? I
That was
thought it was
immediately,
hilarious.
as soon as he
It was
pulled up
so
the Ayn
funny.
Rand book, I was like, this fucking guy. Are you fucking... This
I
makes so
know.
much sense now.
It's
All of
hilarious
this
that
makes
even
sense.
back then, the douchey kids always pulled out Ayn Rand to
Rand.
support their theories.
Oh
Like, you
my
know what
God.
would you know what actually supports my book or supports my line of thinking? Ayn Rand. You should read The Fountainhead.
Have you read The Fountainhead?
I don't.
What
It's
the
I don't
about
keep
how
track
I'm
of
better than
numbers.
you. But don't keep the book. I made notes in the margins. Fuck are you making notes about? About how you're a giant tool?
Some things change, but some things just stay the
In the
same.
margins, I wrote, "Yes, Ayn Rand, you're right. I am better than them." Like, what? Fucking notes.
Yeah, I just
No,
thought it
it's
was so
funny.
funny.
Self-fulfilling.
That was so funny when he pulled out the Fountainhead. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I feel like if they
Like,
made
this is
that
just a
movie
parody.
nowadays, he would be like a total MAGA kid, and he would pull out like the
He
Art
would
of
still
the
pull-
Deal and be
I-
like, read this. You should
I
read
think
this.
he would still pull out the Fountainhead. I think that
It
is
would be
still
Atlas
accurate.
Shrugged.
Yeah, Atlas
It'd be
Shrugged.
Ben Shapiro.
I think Ayn Rand's still coming out of his pocket.
This is the book by Tucker Carlson. You should read this and understand why I'm better than you.
Why is there brown M&M flakes on page 37?
You'd be talking about how
Pages
upset
are
he is
stuck
that
together.
the green M&M is not fuckable anymore.
Yes.
I'm
I
really
understand
upset
the
about
reference.
this. I really need to talk to somebody about my feelings on the M&Ms.
I used to picture myself doing the lift with the green M&M, and now I can't even picture it anymore. I used to stand there with my M&Ms and pick the green one up and just hold it over my head. Now I just eat around them.
I don't know why, but I can only imagine. Isn't there like a meme image on the internet of like Dr. Phil as an M&M?
Yeah.
For some reason, that's all I can picture in my head.
Yeah.
My God, he's green too.
Exactly. That's why.
Oh my God.
Here, I got it. Hold on, I'm sending it. Here.
Oh, God.
That's why when Ben was like, I pictured the green M&M. I was like, wait, isn't it the Dr. Phil one?
Whoa. Play it back. I did not say I pictured the green M&M.
I think so. We talked about this earlier on. It is strange that they never say the word abortion in this movie, right? Like, it is strange. Like, they refer to it as like the problem, the thing.
Feels like a studio decision to me.
Yeah, definitely feels like something where they went to do it in the movie studio. Was like, yeah, we can't have that in the movie. Like, you have
But
to.
it's a major plot point.
You
Yeah,
can't
but you have
say
to-
abortion.
But you have to tiptoe around what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can call it a procedure, you can call it this, but you cannot explicitly say that she is having an abortion.
Also, it's weird that he came and he was there with the rusty knife and a folding table, and the guy was like, "All right, go ahead," and then he left. It's like, what?
Yeah, why did you let this happen?
You just
Why
let him
didn't-
leave?
Yeah, just turn him away. Be like, nah, bro, this isn't happening.
Also, at least you negotiated the price down, right? You didn't pay him the full $250 for that.
all right, rusty knife. That's not. No, we got to knock off at least $150.
I will give you just $100 for this.
No, it's rough. It's rough.
It all leads into the worst plot point of the movie, too. Jack thinking that Patrick Swayze is the dad.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Also,
at
he never.
any point...
No one ever corrects him.
Yeah, any point in the movie, anybody could have just said, no.
You
Right.
don't
Anyone could have been
understand.
like, no. And also, it's the same guy that's hitting on your daughter too.
Yeah, I don't
can
know
we
why
at
Johnny
least-
never corrects them. Like, I don't know why he's just like,
I think
yeah,
he's just.
you would
I mean,
think
I
that,
get
right?
that. I think
he's
just so fed up with it all, and he's just like, whatever. You're not going to believe what I say anyway, so I'm just going to leave.
I also feel like even though the other guy's a total piece of shit, Johnny's one of those guys that like lives by a moral code, and it's like I can't
Oh, like
rat
Batman.
someone else. I can't rat someone else out. Dylan, I will book a fucking flight down
What'd you say?
to Atlanta. I will murder you,
I said like Batman.
and then I will fly back home.
So wait, can we
Go
get
back
a
to your
Patrick?
playpen,
well, we can't
baby.
anymore. But should have gotten a Patrick Swayze Batman. Imagine Batman beating people up while dancing. You know,
Not dancing.
we got
just
that.
Air fucking.
It was Adam West.
Adam West.
But yeah, I think he's one of those people that's like, I'm not a snitch, so I'm not gonna. I'll let him think it's me, but I'm not gonna snitch out someone else.
Big mistake, man. It cost you everything at your summer job that 1 year.
Hey,
No, he
well,
said
it
he worked there
changed his
for
life.
years.
Well, he was like, yeah, you know, like one year I was like, I don't remember how he phrased it, but basically, it's like 1 year I was fighting for scraps, and the next year women were putting diamonds in my pocket. You know,
Yeah, he said,
like-
I'm like,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
eating
dude.
jujubes to survive.
Oh yeah.
Man,
So
he
it's
was done
like-
with that anyways. He was joining the painters union.
I don't know. I don't think he wanted to. I think he was just saying his dad.
She was
No,
joining
she
the
was joining
Painters
the
Union.
Peace Corps, but he mentions that his
No, I'm
dad
pretty sure it was the
trying to
painting
get him.
union.
In...
She was hella into painting that palm tree.
Cam, how was seeing a younger Jerry Orbach? How was that for you?
Quote unquote younger.
You know, I didn't.
Middle aged.
I didn't really
younger
watch.
than he was in fucking 2000s and Law and
Well,
Order.
I didn't
Well,
really
you gotta
watch
remember,
the original
Cameron
Law and Order.
Cameron slaps that SVU button. He doesn't
He's
hit.
just an SVU guy.
Yeah,
For no reason in particular, he's drawn to SVU.
Well, okay, two reasons for that.
Cameron
One-
loves Code Red. Doesn't love original Mountain Dew. You know?
One, the original Law and Order only lasted I mean, it's a good run, but it lasted I think according to IMDb 13 years. SVU's been going on longer. They've been going for 20 years.
I feel like moms will keep a show alive longer.
And
Moms can get hooked
and
into it.
SVU came out later.
NCIS, right?
Yeah.
right, guys.
Boo.
Outlasted,
God, I hate NCIS.
outlasted Jag, its predecessor.
Did you guys know they have a CSI Las Vegas now?
Yeah.
The
Again,
original
isn't that the
was
OG?
Las
The
Vegas.
original,
original
was in
was
Las,
in Las
Vegas,
Vegas.
but now there's CSI Vegas.
Oh.
But that they probably
the same
attached
people?
Vegas to get people to. I don't know. They probably attached Vegas to get people into it, even though the original was in Las Vegas. Wow, that's disheartening. But yeah, I didn't really. I knew, I recognized his face, and I was like, why do I know that guy? Because I haven't seen a ton of the old Law and Order, but sometimes they'd make cameos in SVU, and maybe occasionally I'd see one on TV or whatever. But
I really wish they would let some of this IP just die, like CSI
Law and Order.
or Law and Order, or I don't know.
I mean, the issue though is that
people watch
keep
it.
it afloat. Yeah, people keep watching it and make
It's all the Chicago fire and Chicago
Yeah.
PD and whatever.
It's safe.
It's
Well,
I mean,
it is-
yeah.
I will say SVU has definitely turned into and I still I still watch it. Just I don't know why even honestly anymore. But it's kind of I don't even. How do I even describe it?
Thanks,
it's kind of
thanks
like
for
less.
coming to your therapy session, Cam.
What? No, I mean it's definitely more soap opera-y than it ever used to be in the past. I guess if that makes sense. The plots always revolve around the characters. Before it was oh, we're doing these cases that revolve around the victims, But a lot of the plot nowadays has to do with the detectives in the show. It's I don't care about it. Come on.
I liked watching old SVU episodes, reruns, just to see what people that are famous now were in them when they were
Yes.
not
Oh
famous.
yeah.
Because
There's a
it's
lot of
like the
random
X-Files.
people in
every
the early
fucking
2000s.
every
SVU.
fucking actor in the world has been on Law and Order SVU.
Wasn't Logan Paul or somebody in one, or Jake Paul?
Yeah, he was, but that was later on. But he was in one in the mid to late 10s, I think.
But the Always Sunny guys were on it years before they were famous. It's wait, what? The fuck are these? These guys were on Law and Order SVU, and now they're doing Always Sunny. That's crazy to me.
yeah, there's a lot of random celebrity cameos in SVU.
I want to talk about a couple dance scenes. The first one is the opening scene, where Baby first discovers that all the employees are meeting in some underground dancing sex ring. And there's a guy who just will not stop reaching up this girl's skirt in the middle of the screen. It lasts too long.
Yeah, it's a
It
little
lasts
uncomfortable.
entirely too long.
Just do a different dance move, bud. Stop just trying to feel up this girl's crotch.
We get a couple really, really prominent ass grabs. No dialogue. No cutting away. Just these two people grabbing ass on the dance floor. And it just lasts way too long.
Well, what's crazy to me is how much subplot things they tried to fit in when so much of the movie has no dialogue and is just dancing.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, there
let's
was
play
room.
this soundtrack.
You don't need to fit another. You don't need to fit
Well,
another subplot in there. Just
I mean, I think the subplots were a means to an end. All of them kind of basically led to through the
Yeah,
movie.
but
basically
like
it was
I said,
the
you
reason
don't-
to
you don't need the wallet stealing subplot. You don't need
well, but
this or
they had
that.
to have some reason to have. They had to have some reason for
But literally, they found
him
out
to get fired, right?
they could have fired him for anything, or they could have just said that the money was stolen, and then it would have been oh, the lady he was supposed to sleep with lied about it because she was mad he didn't sleep with her. I feel I would have picked that up if they would have just been his wallet was stolen, and then they blame you, and then it comes
That's
out
what I thought it was.
where baby's like, oh, no, he was with me. And then the lady confesses that she lied about the purse being stolen or whatever. You don't need all this random shit of like, oh, they found her stealing purses at another fucking hotel for no reason. Like, dog, people want to watch this movie for the fucking dancing. We don't need a million subplots.
She was also like, yeah, I was at this other hotel and I saw them there too. Nobody was like, wait, you were at what hotel?
I love that they solved the crime by finger dusting the glasses that those two people just happened to be using and running their fingerprints through a database and found
And they
out
couldn't
they're
have
on the
done
run.
that before. Like, they were literally like,
It's fucking
You just dust every single
1963. Like,
set of
what?
I mean, no, I
glasses.
get that. It's just strange that they were originally like, yeah, Johnny was just like walking by there. And so he did it. Let's just go fire him. And then they went straight from there into CSI mode, and we're like, "Yep, we lifted 2 fingerprints, and they belong to these people who are wanted in Florida and Arizona." It's like, wow, you couldn't have like done that in the first place. Like, if you have those means available, I feel like you would have done that
Nope. Just fire the poor
rather than
kid.
being like, "Let's blame the poor person."
Same scene a little bit later. Patrick Swayze starts dancing with Jennifer Grey. I'll say dancing loosely. That is just prime thrusting. It is just thrusting on screen for another 2 minutes too long. He's trying to teach Jennifer Grey to dance, and she's doing a good job, like, not knowing how, and he's just, like, dry humping her the whole
yeah.
time.
Look
Yeah,
me in
like
the
the
eyes.
dance is just like thrusting at each other. Like it's
Yeah.
like 2 fish out of water. Just
I will say, so I did watch the like movies that made us think about this movie, and it's really interesting. Patrick Swayze had to convince Jennifer Grey to do this movie because she fucking hated him because when they worked
Really?
because they did not get along on the set of Red Dawn
Oh,
because they were both in that movie, and then it was like she's like, I don't want to work with him, and he's like, no, it'll be fine, and they did not get along super well. Also, apparently, I don't know how much of this Zach has trivia for, so I don't want to.
I don't have trivia, so
Cool.
give it
All
a
right,
roll.
cool. So I guess Patrick Swayze, when he was like when they were looking to cast for this movie, he didn't list dancing on like his resume at all. So they actually lucked into it because someone who was casting knew that like his mom ran a dance school. Like his mom literally taught dance, so he was a trained dancer.
wow.
His mom literally owned a dance school, so he didn't have it on his resume. And when they went, they're like, "Yeah, we'd like to cast him, but he can't dance." And was like, "No, his mom owns a dance school." And also, he had fucked up his knee when he was younger. So when they did that scene where he jumps off the stage at the end, apparently they shot that thing like, I don't even know, like they shot it like all night. And they said basically like by the end of it, he could barely walk because his knee was just fucked up. And then they had to do the lift.
Well, yeah, I see here that says like during the log scene, he kept falling off the log and injured his knee so badly they had to have fluid drained from the swelling.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You guys ever had fluid drained from your knee before?
have you?
No.
Isn't that where
but-
they just take a giant needle and fucking...
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big, thick ass needle, and
That
they
they
just get it right in all the little nooks and crannies and
Mhm.
Ew.
drain the jism out.
I don't know if that's where that's stored.
Never
but-
call it that. Also, the lady who wrote this movie, Eleanor Bergstein, her family went to this type of resort in the 1960s.
Okay.
She's the daughter of a Jewish doctor, a liberal Jewish doctor, and everyone called her Baby. So literally, the main character is supposed to be like
This is
loosely
just a
loosely based on her, and she also would go to house parties and learn how to dirty dance.
This is just a wet dream she had.
This was apparently like a
She got to write her
semi-biographical
own
life
like
story.
fanfic featuring Patrick Swayze and her.
How old was Patrick Swayze when this movie was made?
What?
Oh,
How
jeez.
old was Patrick Swayze when this
I
movie was
looked it up. I looked because I was curious if Johnny was a pedophile, and the
was
answer is no.
35?
So he was 34 when he was cast, but So the ages of the two people,
18
because I
and
was
25.
concerned. Yeah, it was
Cam on
18 and
active
24.
pedophile watch.
It was 18 and 24.
Cameron trying to make sure he doesn't have to cancel Patrick Swayze, who's
He
been
will not be betrayed.
who's
Well,
been
not Patrick Swayze,
who's been
but
dead for like years.
no. It's just I'm not saying Patrick Swayze's a pedophile. I was just wondering
the
if
character.
Johnny,
Like-
the character, was a pedophile.
Oh, okay.
Like Johnny
And
looks
the answer
old
is
as fuck.
probably not. I mean, he looks old as fuck because Patrick Swayze's 34.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be 24. And fun fact, apparently Patrick Swayze wore a girdle in the movie to appear thinner and younger.
Yeah, I mean, what's her name was? I think she was like 26 or something when it was filmed.
Jennifer Grey.
Yeah.
I just saw it was 27.
Okay. So, like,
So he looks old because he is old. But they're supposed to both be like, 8 to 10 years younger than they
I'm
actually
glad
are.
like kids have gotten better at acting.
Yeah.
So we don't have to deal with like 30-year-olds playing 18-year-olds anymore. I mean, it still happens from
Yeah.
time to time, but like,
Okay.
Right, when you see like an old a movie when people are in high school and you're like, okay, none of you are even remotely, like you're all like 30.
How old are we talking? Because Glee ended in like 2014, and one of the main stars was like 30 when that show started.
I never watched Glee.
The gym teacher.
No, the lead like high school kid. Okay, so one more thing I'm looking at the trivia at IMDb now on this movie, and I think this is actually absolutely hilarious. This movie, was re-released in 1997 solely due to a petition led by Conan O'Brien, in which he asked viewers to send letters calling for the movie's re-release. When exhibitors finally agreed, Conan joked that he didn't even like the movie all that much.
Conan's a master troll.
Such a baller move to be like, everyone, we need this movie to go back to theaters. And then finally it's like, well, what do you think? We got the movie back in theaters. I don't really care. I don't like it.
We got to get Conan on the pod. If we get Conan on, I'll quit.
If we get Conan on, that will be my last podcast ever, because it'll never get better than that.
oh, okay. So no one had seen this film, and we can kind of just go into our ratings. We don't have trivia this week, so you're gonna get 4 fresh reviews, and I can go first. I know Cam usually goes.
I don't know. I was going to wonder who was going to go first.
I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. I think the soundtrack pops. I'm not 100% into this movie. I think the dance numbers were impressive, and I can kind of see how it's like beloved by like our parents. It's kind of almost like what is it, American Graffiti sort of, where it's like, oh, it's kind of like a time capsule, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I can see like thinking like after viewing it for the first time and kind of like sitting on it, I was like, it kind of reminds me of like Meatballs or these other like summer camp movies that we used to watch in a sense, but it's like the female oriented version where it's like we're doing dancing in this, and it's a bit hornier and
Hornier
is
than
a-
Meatballs?
I mean, that's what when I wrote that down, I was like, these movies, I mean, they're like trying to like creep on girls in like showers and shit, but like this movie is like a hyper sexualized dancing, but
Meatballs in those types of summer camp movies for men in the 1980s were basically just like, how much porn can we get into a movie and still
Yeah, what
release
can we
it
get
in
away with?
theaters?
we've drilled the hole into the bottom of the showers. This is what great, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's essentially a female summer camp movie, with a little eye candy for the ladies and Patrick Swayze, and an old 30-year-old Patrick Swayze.
So yeah, I actually agree with the rating. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. When the movie first started, I was kind of like lower on it, and honestly, watching it throughout, I did like bump it up. I think it's a fun movie. I think that, as you mentioned, the soundtrack is really good. You know, there are themes in the movie that are good. Like I get that it's mostly there for the dancing and the music, and some Swayze, but I think there's some valid stuff in there. You know, like giving everyone a fair shot and all that, and doing the right thing, like those types of things. So I don't think it's nearly as empty as some people might make it out to be. I think it's a pretty good film. One of Swayze's best, probably.
How many other Swayze movies
yeah.
have you seen?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of, like, acclaim,
Is
like,
that
I don't know. Is it
that
not?
a 0?
No. I don't know.
You saw the Patrick Swayze Batman movie.
I'm just curious because you're like, it's one of Patrick Swayze's best, probably. Like it just sounds like you haven't seen any other ones. You're just kind of like, yeah, this one's
I'm
gotta
just
be
saying
up there.
again, I'm just saying if you look at his movies and like the ratings of all the movies he's ever been in, this is definitely near the top, if not at the top. So
Okay.
no, I haven't seen a ton of other movies, but this is
What about Donnie Darko?
one of the ones that's like,
Ooh, Point Break. Ooh.
I mean, this is for sure his most recognizable role.
Point Break.
No.
Roadhouse.
Sorry.
Depends what gender you're talking to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but
Ghost.
Red Dawn.
The Outsiders.
I stand by what I said. 6 out of 10. Fuck you guys.
It might actually be. It might actually be The Outsiders.
Wasn't he Ponyboy's older brother?
Yeah, it was Daryl.
I'm gonna give you a big, fat, thrusting, for way too long 4. This movie is just, the soundtrack is the best part. Like you guys said, the plot, there's so many crammed in plots that just don't make sense. It's like they shoehorned these things in and then didn't have time for them. But they would have had time for them if there wasn't like 20 minutes of just grinding with no dialogue. Like, the grinding doesn't bother me, but let them have some dialogue, develop the plot in those scenes. It's just like things could have been solved with a simple conversation, or there wouldn't have been a problem in the first place. I don't know, the movie's popular, it's there for a reason, but I just don't think it's a great movie.
I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It was cheesy, which I enjoy. I enjoyed the music. The one thing I kind of liked about the music too was the fact that whenever it seemed like it was anything that was playing like in 1963 was dated, but like any of the kind of like over score seemed to be kind of newer, and I thought that was kind of a neat kind of thing to do. They didn't commit to like all 60s music. They also didn't commit to like all 80s music. They kind of blended the two, which I thought was an interesting way to do things. Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, for as much as you kind of hear the rumors about behind the scenes that they didn't get along, they did have chemistry. They made it seem very believable. I thought Jerry Orbach as the dad, I thought his character was really kind of an interesting take on things, being that, you know, he's, for being a wealthy doctor in the early 1960s, very liberal. And then even kind of at the end of the movie, when everything kind of comes out, he goes up to Patrick Swayze's character and is like, you know, I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong, and I was wrong about you. Like, they could have very easily just been like, yeah, the dad's a sour old man, and even though he was wrong, he's going to take that with him. Like, no matter what, he thinks Patrick Swayze's character is a bad person. But I also love just kind of the 80s cheese effect of, like, at the very end, they're like, we're going to have to shut this place down. I don't know what we're going to do. And then they start dancing, and then all of a sudden everyone's dancing, and the guy's like, we found our solution. We're going to be able to save the business. You know, just that cheesy 80s, everything works itself out in the end. So yeah, I think a 7 out of 10 is fitting. It's a shame we lost Patrick Swayze as soon as we did. I think he had a lot of just really good movies. This is one of them.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Get yourself some nice Spanish wine. Check those Drizzly and Casco links. Get yourself some Spanish cheese, some Manchego or some Iberico. And buy some straws from Surfside Sips. Check out Dirty Dancing on Freeform as of recording. And tune in next week as we do How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days to round out our wine and cheese month. And as always, watch responsibly.